You can go ahead and get started, Maxine.
All right. So you're going to be sharing away while
I am.
okay, awesome. Hey, thanks for joining us on a Sunday. Stephanie and I decided to do a little service on Sunday and hang out with you and just have a little chat about what's going on in our industry. It seems to be evolving and changing like on a daily basis. And we kind of titled this, back to business as usual. Yes, no, we don't think so. So, what I'd love to know from you if you're hopping on and joining us live, and even if you are on the replay, if you could just type in where you're from and what is your projected open date in your state. We'd love to know that because it is just different across the board. So, and some of the things that we wanted to talk about today is that this whole COVID situation is, and going back to work is not about gloves and masks. It's
Mm.
definitely something deeper. And we want to talk about that. We want to talk about, we want to have the non-essential conversation. We want to talk about how you're feeling about that and maybe what we could do to improve that non-essential title that I don't know, like what's going on in our industry, right? And then we also want to talk about, are you ready? Are you ready to go back? And if so, what does that look like? Because there's like this new plastic gear out. There's states that are requiring clients to wear masks. There's states that are banning steamers. Like what, how, like what the hell?
It's
How
a
is this
lot.
gonna, yeah. So, and what is this taught? What has this whole thing taught us? And, are you willing to shift and pivot right now in your business? And if you're not, what are you going to do?
Yeah. So while Maxine jumps on and does her sharing, we
Okay, I'll share.
posted that everyone to not only share this conversation, because I think it's time for us as spa owners, estheticians in our industry to have open, honest conversations where we can have a place where we're voicing our concerns. It's not coming out ugly and people aren't jumping on and jumping all over each other, but that we can have a really honest place of having open, honest conversation. So if you have people that you'd love to share this with, please definitely share it onto your page or share it onto wherever your have groups are. Let us know where you are because we are seeing a lot, and it seems like every week we have new things happening in our industry. Maxine and I talk very often, and we're always having conversations coming from the place of helping. And I think that there's so much confusion out there about how we do business. Um, are we ready to do business? And how can we feasibly bring services that people are demanding, still keeping things safe, but also understanding the bigger picture? And this is something that Maxine and I go back and forth with. Oh, nobody can hear me?
No, oh, can they not?
Can no one hear me?
No, I'm saying timeout because I don't know what my problem is. So why can't I find this? Is this on your Mac? It's not showing up on my page.
Maxine Drake Consulting.
It's not showing up there.
You want to take it from my Stephanie Laynes. Can everyone hear me now? Someone's saying they can't hear me.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, she said we can. Okay, everybody can hear me. All right, we can hear. Okay, good. Um, so let us know where you're from. Let's have open, honest conversations. Let's talk about instead of coming from a place of anger, let's talk about that place of having an open, honest conversation with no judgment. You guys know how I am. I'm quick to cut folks now. I want people to be able to have a place to air their concerns and be able to really feel it's a safe place with no judgment. So that's what Maxine and I really try to focus on and allow us, because we don't have places to go where we can honestly voice our fears, voice our concerns without other people jumping on and saying this and that. Let's just have this space to really be that. The other thing is too, is that can we ever evolve to the understanding that we won't be going back to business the way it was? And I think that's where I see most of the resistance. We won't be going back to business the way it was. Um, and it's going to be a long time before we do. You know, Maxine has talked a little bit with me how she was involved in the airline industry when 9/11 hit, and how we changed everything so drastically and people didn't do anything. And we know we can't compare it to COVID. We do know that at some point COVID is going to be managed. We don't know how long and we don't know when. Um, but I don't think that we're ready to honestly say business will be different. And in that way of being different, it'll have to be back to those whole SOPs. Now, Maxine knows I've been pushing her for weeks on her SOPs, because our standard operating procedures are going to have to change. We're going to have to understand that we're going to have to understand the experience of when a client comes in, to what you do in your services, to how that client checks out, and then what you're doing in between clients. Now, back when we were doing phenomenal, right? Everybody was rocking and rolling. We were doing our thing. We know we stacked clients. We had clients stacked back to back with a 5-minute break. Some of us didn't pee, some of us didn't eat, some of us didn't drink. Our room turnover, we had shortcuts. Some of us would layer beds. Some people would keep disinfection really close. Some of us would have gophers that would come in and turn our room over. We check them out, come back, they bring the next person. I mean, we had a system that was down to the T, right?
We did.
Now we've been told we can't have that anymore. So some states are saying we have to have 30 minutes in between clients. Now, what in that 30 minutes does it look like? And how can that 30 minutes be money-making activity in your 8 or 9 hour day? Because some of us would see 10 to 15 to 20 people a day. With that timeline, now we're going to have to go down to 10. So is it really going to be now factored into our cost per service and how much we need to make an hour? Because to be honest, those folks that were doing the $25, $30 Brazilians were stacking. You can't do that anymore. So is it going to be worth you doing a $25 or $30 Brazilian to keep your business open when you relied on the stacking? And if you don't know what stacking means, is that instead of you booking 30-minute appointments, you're booking 15. So at every 15 minutes, a new client would be walking into the door. The numbers and the time is going to be a huge factor in whether you can do business in general. So Maxine has had a really great observation with your whole process of redoing your SOPs for your inner circle. What did you take away, Maxine, from that, as far as, you know, not only timing, but how to make money from that within those constraints that are now coming out from every state we're seeing that's opening?
Well, first, I'd like to know who is going back to work. Like, I really feel like, and we're both been watching groups and conversations where people are like, I want to go back to work. I want to go do something different. Like, who really wants to go back to work and is willing to make the adjustments, because there's going to be some adjustments. And I think I could get in the weeds when I put together a standard operating procedures, because I'm a real detailed oriented person. So I kind of had to stop at 10 pages, because what that's going to give you is it's going to give you a good guideline to get started. And things are still evolving, like meaning that every few days, I feel like we learn something new, right?
We do.
It's like, oh my God, you know? And
Right.
I'm so glad to see me, that you want to go back. But I also want to say, and not that you need my permission, but if you don't want to go back, that's okay too. Like if you were like, you know what? Because Stephanie and I were talking right before this, and I said, I remember after 9/11 when I was a flight attendant, and I made the decision to go into aesthetics school because I was like, this is not fun for me anymore. It's not fun being a flight attendant anymore. And if you feel like you're not having fun anymore, if it took the fun out, or you're not not willing, but you just don't want to, you just don't want to shift, you don't want to pivot, and you don't want to go, okay, I'm going to have to make some adjustments. What does that look like? And am I willing to do that still seek?
I love that. The willingness to do the pivot. I think that's what we're fighting. We're fighting that pivot. Like we're making justifications.
Yeah. So
And
one of the things that I came up with that I'm happy to, you know, and Stephanie is like, you got to get these girls in the inner circle. If you come in, you know, into the membership, and this totally wasn't going to be a sales live stream. This is
I don't
supposed
think
to be
people
a,
know what you offer.
like, just like a Sunday giving, like, let's just, you know, you get that for free. Like it's in a Word document, because I think that we need the space in there to keep adding things. But one of the things that I think that you want to consider adding to your standard operating procedures and the way you do business is tacking on an additional fee when you go back to work. What do I mean by that? Well, and resorts will put resort fees and things like that. And I think we need to put a COVID fee. And because if you're going to go back to work, God only knows. We don't know yet because we're not working. So we don't know how much hand sanitizer we're going to go through. We
Exactly.
don't know how many masks we're going to go through. We don't know how many gloves we're going to go through. Disposable, whatever you decide, like cleaning material. We don't know yet, but I think that with that fee on there, I think people are going to be okay with that. And I think clients will understand. And it's not like, oh, I'm, you know, increasing my prices, but like to do business for me now is there's an added expense there. And I think they're going to be okay with that. So that's just one little snippet of one of the things that I added to it. But like I said, it was 10 pages. We're not going to go through 10 pages. But you know, I'm happy to see that there's people that want to go back. Is there anybody that doesn't? Because one of the things that Stephanie and I create here for us, and what we love doing when we give our time, is we just want to create that safe space to have a conversation, because we feel like in some of these groups and all across social media that it isn't safe to say how you feel right now, because people want to bite your friggin' head off.
They are biting them off.
And they are. But is there anybody that doesn't? And they're just like, you know what? I don't want to go back. I really want to know that too, because I want to just send you, I don't know, some love, and it's going to be okay if you don't. So, so anyway, I know that we had a couple of things on our list, you know, Stephanie, to talk about. This isn't just about masks and gloves. So what's it about?
I think a lot of it is about us not only understanding things are going to be different, but also in the difference, are we ready to do it? And here's the thing I think for me that I find so frustrating is when I see all of these different businesses that now have opened, Georgia, there's another place I can't remember, and I'm seeing what people are haphazardly doing. And I use the word haphazardly because there's really no thought behind it. But people are doing things without the understanding of functionality. Honestly, you cannot wear plastic every day.
Okay. Did everybody see that? I mean, it was cray. Stephanie texted to me. I don't know if you guys can see this without the glare.
But the poor girls, I feel bad for them. I think the thought was great into wearing a plastic bodysuit, like protective gear. But I know waxing in plastic, the way I sweat, look, the way my body is set up and the way I sweat, I would pass out. I really would. But let's take it a step further. How do you plan on disinfecting that plastic? Am I going to go into a shower? How is that functional for us? And then also protects us at the same time. Like the things that I see are done out of desperation because again, there's no SOP, there's no process to understanding. I would burn up and I run cold, but the minute you occlude and you put, you know,
Yeah.
So Maxine, a lot of them didn't see the picture, so they want you to go closer so they can see the plastic on them. So
let me do that.
yeah, I think there's a lot of people who don't quite understand the functionality. Yeah, so they're all in plastic. So from neck down, it's plastic all over them. I literally would be sweating all day. I probably would pass out. the way I sweat when I work and wax, I could never do that. The other
I don't
part
think it would be safe.
is no, how is that? How is that safe for everybody and the employees involved? How is that safe? Like, how are you sanitizing that? And I got to sanitize it in between because now it's become a part of your sanitation protocol in your room turnover. So does that mean I'm wearing a plastic? I got to put another plastic on?
Yeah, it
And then
does.
who's cleaning it? But I think that that's why I go back to Maxine and her SOPs, because it's like, okay, so what does it look like when we're in business? Not just when you walk in, not just when the client comes in, but how does it look? How am I able to work, be successful, still keep my mind together, and also be safe and disinfect and not lose my mind?
Yeah, and pivoting isn't, and pivoting and shifting is not about wearing a mask and gloves and a face shield.
No, no,
Pivoting in your business is shifting your business model. And Catherine, you're already doing it, so I'll use you as an example of doing the online consultation, doing online things. Pivoting is going, dang, I'm getting my e-commerce up, and I'm going to get this running.
right,
It's I'm going to monetize webinars.
right.
That is what I mean by pivoting. What you use in your practice, that's part of your standard operating procedure protocols. How much time you allot in between, like I think initially we're going to probably allow more time until we get it down. And then we'll get into a flow, into a system, and we'll be able to not skimp on anything, but we'll get better at it. So that will speed up the process. No different than it used to take me 45 minutes to do a Brazilian wax, and then it took me 20. I'm
Right.
not 5 minutes like you, Stephanie. I'm not as good as you.
But no, I mean, that is, I think it's
Yeah.
it's a thing of habit that we
Right.
we were doing what we thought we were doing, but now they want us to take it a step further. And I
Right.
think that's the thing with the mindset, is the reality of what we come in contact with, not just what we think we come in contact with, but really what we come in contact with. And, there's a question in here about our insurance. I think insurance is going to dictate a lot, because unfortunately, that's really how our game is played. Not only by the states that govern what you can and can't do, you also have insurance over here telling you whether they're going to allow and cover the liability. And that's where I think there's a lot of gray in as well, because a lot of the insurance companies have not come out and said anything. They've said a few things, but those of us who are already in policies, I can tell you, when the new policies come out, they're going to be different.
You're going to want to follow that. You're going to want to follow whatever your city, your county, state has to say. And I love what I think Jennifer wrote. Oh, who wrote that? That Dermalogica had some protocols. I'm sorry, the comments keep scrolling pretty fast. So that's a good starting point, like with the Dermalogica touch something
Safe
it was
touch,
called.
she said safe touch.
Safe touch, yeah.
Safe touch.
I think that's a really good starting point. But now you want to add in, what does your insurance have to say? What does your city and state have to say? And literally in the SOPs that I put together, I'm like, look, you got to appoint someone or yourself, if you're a solo, to double check what has changed. What is the CDC saying today, not last week? And we have to be able to make those changes quickly within our spa.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, that I think is going to be very interesting as well, is because we have a lot of things that we've already been doing. Now we're going to be doing more things that have to now become routine, right? Because that's the whole thing in our business. We all work based off of routine. Our right-handers, we have everything at our right hand. Our left-handers, we have everything in our left hand. When we have our room, we set it up for us to be ergonomically correct, for us to get things. And it's also, it's such a muscle memory type of work that we now have to relearn how to do business post-COVID. Because the other thing that I want to bring up, that Maxine and I have been talking about too, is, our disinfection and sanitation. A lot of the stuff that we use, we have to now start understanding the importance of them. And do we look at different things? Do we look at different ways of sanitation that can also be healthy for us? You know, are we going to be breathing in all of this stuff all the time as well? How healthy is that for us? Is there other alternatives that we can look at that are not as toxic, but still have that level of sanitation? And I think that there's a lot of things that are out there that are going to be coming down the pipeline for these situations for people who are super sanitizing over our normal. And it's been very eye-opening in looking at things and saying, you know, from a functionality point of view, and even here in my home, you know, Lysol is not meant to be used every day, 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 times a day. And I leave that in.
Oh, it's not?
For that. Right. So how do we keep, you know, our homes safe from things? And are we open to green alternatives? And I think there's a lot that are going to be coming on the forefront. One, because we are seeing the more difficulty of getting these disinfectants and sanitation for our sanitation. Like right now, barbicide is sold out. We had a Lysol scare. Some places can't get Lysol to use. Some people can't get these things. So, you know, we really want to understand in our functionality of day to day, how does that also look? How does that look? And have we thought about that? Or are we so much just balls to the wall, let's get back in there and figure it out as we go? Because we really can't do that anymore. Like those days are really gone. We did it before.
Yeah.
And I think that's really why we got to that label of non-essential.
Well, let's just talk about that. Okay.
Let's talk about it because I'm telling you.
Let's open up the can of worms. Come on.
Can.
What, how are you guys feeling about this non-essential? I really want to know. I want to know for the people that are on today, joining us live, what is your take on this non-essential that we've been labeled? And what does it mean? I don't know. Is something
that is super, super sensitive because we've been labeled. We didn't label ourselves non-essential.
Well, here's the thing. Here's really what it means, just so that you can stop being offended.
Well, people are mad.
I'm gonna say it. Okay, come on. You know how listen, I'm getting sassy. I've been hanging around you too much. So, but here's really what it means. Like the reason why stores were open, because even Lowe's and things like that. I mean, it's very hard to stop production on things of that nature.
Right.
Okay. It's very easy to start up production for our business.
Right.
The supply and demand for the stores, if you can imagine if they shut down the stores, what that would do.
Right.
And then the supply and demand of where everything comes from.
Right.
Okay. So that's the real definition of essential. That would literally kill our economy.
Yep.
I know that we get our feelings hurt, you know, when someone says that we're not essential, because we're digesting it and we're jumbling up the words to say, oh, that means I'm not important.
Right.
And I don't think that that's what that is, Stephanie. I don't think that it's not that we're not important, because I ask everyone in my neighborhood and they're like, I can't wait to get my hair done, my nails done, my lashes done, my skin done. Like, don't talk to me. Like, seriously, there are people out there that definitely see the value in what you're doing in the treatment room.
And I think we've tied our value to the label of non-essential.
We have.
Valuable.
And we feel now that we need to go out and be like, look, I'm, you know, trained in sanitization and disinfection. Like, this is in my scope, and it's not about that. But what I'm hoping that you're so fired up, and let's turn that around and get more involved with your own state, because we fight deregulation on a friggin' yearly basis. It just depends what state you live in, you know? So let this fuel your fire to go, you know, give you a voice to get more involved.
There's a lot that came out of that.
Don't hate me.
The thing is too, I think, you know, we're going to see, and we've said this, we're going to see a lot of businesses that were playing spa and playing esthetician and playing salon go away. Because this, for some businesses, truly will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Because again, and I've said this many, many times, no one can ever take the label of me being an esthetician away. No one can ever take that away. What am I doing in that, even if I don't see someone and I don't touch their face?
Yeah.
How do I still make money and pivot to still be in touch with my clients and still give them what they're wanting from me and what I need from them without me touching their face? And I think this has been where it's been where rubber meets the road, where a lot of estheticians have said, maybe I can do business differently and still get what I need. Because here's the thing, this is what I see. I see all of this all the time. I can't wait to see you.
Yeah.
I see you too.
That is absolutely right.
And we've said this, Maxine and I've talked this on other calls and said, well, why not show them how to properly wash their face? You cannot believe how many times I've said to estheticians who have reached out to me and said, I don't know what to do. Have you shown your clients how to wash their face? What do you mean? Do they know how to cleanse their face? Well, yeah, no, they don't. No, they don't. So I have one gal that's in my mentoring group who does spa mask Mondays on Zoom. And she gets her clients together and they do a whole process with her. So she's showing them how to wash her face. She's going through all of it. She's big into gua sha as well. But she gives them the kit to pull it out and they all line it up and they're all super excited. And she's doing the effleurage and petrissage and showing them how they should wash their neck and their jawline and close to their ears. And she even said she's so surprised at how people were not doing that. No different than the whole hand washing conversation.
Yeah.
That doesn't take away from her being an esthetician. And that's why I said I'm seeing a lot of different estheticians really get outside of the box and still keep that connection. Because here's the thing, we all know that connection is what brings people in day or week after week after week after week, month after month, whatever. That is the connection. And if you haven't talked to your clients in all this time, or you've just been posting how much you miss them, that's not a connection. You know, I got to go back to my mean girl conversation that I said at Maxine Summit. And I said, you know, when in the beginning of our career, we were so much that hustle mentality. We wanted to grow our books. We wanted to grow our clientele. We wanted to have full books. We wanted to be consistently earning income. So what did we do? We worked our ass off, literally. We made those connections. We encouraged referrals. We would go over and beyond for those clients. But when we got to the level that we thought we needed to be at and we reached and we were booked 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out, we turned into that mean girl. And what does that mean? We kept our clients in our phone. If they texted outside of our parameters, I got to fire her. Don't call me after 7. Don't text me after 7. And I'm only going to text you to communicate with you. But when I see you, how are you? Oh, it's so good to see you.
Yep.
Now that you're not seeing those clients anymore, and if you have put your clients into that box, you're in a hard place. You can't just put them in that phone and keep them in that text anymore. And that's been one of the tug of wars I've done with a lot of estheticians. Have you called them and talked to them? No different than when they see you. I don't know if they wanted me to call them. Okay.
I still have that conversation with people.
That was one of the best conversations at the summit because I went there and I told Maxine, I said, I'm going to have to go here and I'm going to have to talk about it because I think that we don't understand the power and relationship that we have built with these clients. In our mindset, we put them in a little compartment and we open and close it when we need it. COVID is now showing us that they can't be in that box anymore. For us to sustain our business, we're going to have to make that relationship that they have with us, we're going to have to now reciprocate it. We really are. Because we know we all have those needy ones, those ones that just love us to death. And we only want to love on them when we're with them for that 60 or 90 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever. But now that we don't have that time every 4 weeks.
What did you say at Summit? You're like, oh, don't be texting me in my off hours. She cracked me up, you guys. I was laughing. And if you know Stephanie, she can make the best faces ever. But yeah, no, it really is true. It is true. But here's the real secret. The real secret is that people don't come to you for your facial.
No, they don't.
They come to you for you first
Absolutely.
and your craft second.
Absolutely.
It always has been that way. Nothing has changed. And so we are not in the facial business. We are in the relationship business.
Absolutely.
And I get it, you guys, because we're all, you know, dealing with COVID in different ways. I'm 15 pounds overweight. You know, we're all like, and some people are shutting down completely, like they don't even want to do anything. And we're, you know, it's just, you know, allowing that space to whatever, like wherever you're at, but let's slowly try to get out of it and start baby stepping into making some positive action steps. But that relationship is key, and you're going to see how valuable that relationship is when you do go back.
Absolutely. And
Because
it's a relationship. And, you know, some of you guys are, you know, you're that boyfriend that only wants to text.
I will say this too.
I go there.
In this relationship, Stephanie, hang
Yes.
on. I got a train of thought. Don't let me, because, you know, I got my menopause brain sometimes.
Get it.
Okay. So when I was like asking around, like when I was developing the standard operating procedures, I'm talking about coming from a place of safety also, but I still have this thing in me where I want to still deliver the experience. How can we be safe and still deliver the experience?
Yeah.
And I was asking all my neighbors, like all the female friends who like get services and things, like what would make you feel safe if your hairstylist contacted you right now, your esthetician, your nail girl, and they're just like, ooh, because of my relationship, I would trust that they're on like that. I would trust them that they're going to just do what they're supposed to do, or they have a plan. So already, if you have that relationship, you've earned the trust.
And that's important. I mean, I think that's the thing. Here's the thing about everything that's happened. Most of us are gearing up for our season, right? Consistent books, consistent income. Most of us pay our bills between February and September, right? Let's be honest. I'm being very honest. In our industry, this is really how it works.
We pay our bills when? Twice a year only? What?
I'm just saying, we gear up for this. This is the time where we know our money's flowing. We know clients are going to be coming around. Our seasonal clients are going to be here. We know we're going to be working 5, 6, maybe days a week. We know we're going to have a waiting list. Like this is the time that we gear up. We love this time of year, right? It's not slow. We don't have gaps. We know. It is now May 2nd. Most of us in this time would already have a waiting list. Most of us would be gearing up for Mother's Day, and then after that, Memorial Day, and then everything after that. We know this is the time that we can guarantee our books are full and our money's coming in. This has now been taken away. So now what? Our services have been taken away. So now what? Does that take away from you being an esthetician? No. But we're still in that mourning. We're still mourning. We're still grieving. We're still grieving, right? So we sit in that grieving and we sit and we're here. And then we're like, well, okay, well, what else am I going to do? Oh, there's all kinds of things that you can do. Maxine and I have been pushing this virtual space, and I've lived in the virtual space for 10 years. So the virtual space for me is like clockwork. It's like a part of me now. It's where it is. Mm-hmm. But the virtual space.
I have a question for everyone.
Yeah, ask a question.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
What is your biggest pain right now?
That's a good question.
What is your biggest pain right now? If you could just type in the comments, I'd love to know. Because then the second part of that question is, if we're not taking some kind of a forward, I don't care if it's a centimeter, I don't like it, just the smallest baby step forward to ease that pain or fix it or do something about it, what is it costing you?
No, no, that's a good question.
What is it costing you? And again, this is a safe space. So I really hope, I want to see some honest answers, because losing my business. Okay, that's a real uncertainty. These are real things. And all of us have that uncertainty because it's still very fluid. We're rolling out, there's some places that are opening and they're baby stepping it and they're figuring it out too. And so there's uncertainty all over the place, switching to e-commerce. Yeah. So, hands-on only for over a decade.
I know that hands-on, that hands-on.
Listen, I get it. We didn't go to aesthetic school to go, you know what? I can't wait till I graduate to do that virtual consultation. I can't wait till I graduate so I can build my e-commerce. We didn't go to school for that. As a matter of fact, though, these schools, I'm hoping they're thinking about these things now to teach on that business level, that these students need to be thinking about this as another stream.
They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
You know that. I mean, we've had that conversation. I think what we're going to see is a huge shift come because, honest to God, the skincare industry and the beauty industry isn't going away. What I see the struggle for, the biggest thing is, where do I fit in all of it for me? I'm the first one to tell you, when I went to school, I wasn't even going to school to wax. I was going to school to change people's lives, one face at a time. That was my goal when I went to aesthetic school. I loved extractions and pushing on people and pushing out them zits and all. I loved it. But when I got into the actual industry and worked, anytime the economy changes, no different than now, facials are the first to go, honest talk. So the reason I went into waxing is because I could make more, see more people, turn my room over faster. And I forced myself into that because I wanted to have my income be the same. I pivoted again when I had my daughter. So, I mean, the pivots for me have come because I've actually gotten over the fact that, yes, I may not have gone to school I wanted to touch people. I didn't want to wax. I knew that going in. One, because I was a test dummy. So you already know, my teacher was Russian. So she had my old black tail up on there, and with the wax, y'all already know, tore my stuff up. And I'm up there spread out. But the thing is that we have so much more opportunity now than we've ever had before, ever. And the virtual space is not going to go away. Even if you go back into your business, you still at some point have to realize the virtual space now has to be a part of your SOP. It cannot be separate the way we've been doing it before. Because there's been a lot of businesses that have maybe done online scheduling. They've maybe done a little bit of online booking. It's never gonna go away. So moving forward, as we reopen, is that virtual space going to be in your vocabulary? Is it going to be something that connects you to your customers in where they are? And I'm saying this because the key to the connection is the consistent part. If you notice, Maxine and I in the virtual space after all these years have always done something very consistent: connection. And connection in that virtual space has been, for me, relatability. I understand what you're going through because I went through it. I'm going to laugh with you at those clients that call up. So I'm going to make a funny little video, but I'm still going to connect with you.
Oh, let's do a funny, do you want me to play someone? Who do you want me to be? What, I'm good at that mean girl. What do you want me to be?
Gosh, you that mean girl. But that's the thing. I think that people, they, and I say this from an honest place. Virtual will never go away. You can still be who you are, still have your business, still do everything that you want to do, but you're going to have to invite that virtual space to be a part of it. No longer are the days of we choosing whether or not to be a part of it. Those days are gone. And
Yeah.
I'm always encouraging estheticians to look at it from that vantage point, because we get angry, and let's be honest, we get angry about the e-commerce side. We get angry that clients can now buy what we're selling without us. Let's be honest.
It's true.
We're
But
angry.
getting angry about it and doing something about it are two different things.
Absolutely. And the doing something about it provides, and that's something, before this whole thing was huge, I still would ship products to my clients if I hadn't seen them. So it's not something, and I'm saying this to be honest, because I do think having multiple ways of earning income as an esthetician is now going to be a part of the new normal. With and without services, it's becoming a part of the new normal. Are you ready to really get in there and understand how that can now be a part of your way of doing business? And it will be a way that you have to do from now on.
It could be, you know, think of it as an additional stream of revenue. Maybe you want to be at home more. I don't know. But there's definitely girls in the Inner Circle membership I'm so proud of. I know some, they're on. Denise, she's like building out her groups, and Catherine. I mean, some of these girls have been working on building out their virtual presence for 3 years. And so it's helping keep them sane and afloat and revenue coming in right now. But what I don't want you to think is that you've missed the boat.
No.
It's not too late to start. Like sometimes we think, oh gosh, like why didn't I think of that? Or why didn't, you know, I should have like jumped on that 2-3 years ago. Okay, well, beating yourself up isn't going to serve you. So, but what you can do is start now and start learning it now. You know, Becky King coined the term, you know, as estheticians, we're touchy and we're not techie. And I go, Becky, cancel that, because we need to learn to be more techie.
We do.
This is the world we live in. And, you know, and do you guys remember when we started doing text confirmation?
Reminders, yeah.
Well, my dad, if he's listening, oh my God, because he does stalk me every now and then. So if he's listening, oh my God, he used to get so mad at me. He's like, well, you can't confirm appointments through text. Like what? I'm like, Dad, you have to roll with the changes in business, or we're not going to be in business.
Right.
And that's the truth. We have to roll and be, so if you think about COVID and you did a little SWOT analysis, because I put a SWOT analysis, I think on Friday on my Instagram, and I didn't get very many likes. Maybe because people don't know what the heck a SWOT analysis is. It's your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Okay. And I believe we need to kind of do a little 50,000 foot view, a little SWOT analysis on our business a couple times a year. COVID is a threat, no doubt. It's a threat. So how can you take this threat and how can you see the opportunities within it? That is the mind of an entrepreneur. We need to put our entrepreneur hat on and start getting really creative of what opportunities are out there. Well, okay, girls monetizing webinars, getting your e-commerce. We have girls in the Inner Circle. Somebody put in there, getting your Amazon store on. Absolutely. I mean, these are all great ideas that you can be doing, and that could be another stream of revenue for you.
And that's the thing with, you know, being in situations and how you respond. I think there's a lot of people who respond well and quick. Some people think it out. And then you have some that just sit and kind of look almost like on the beach. You have some that go dive in. I don't dive in on the beach.
You don't?
God, no. You have some that sit at the surf. Then you have some that are on the beach. I'm over in my cabana with my drink underneath in the shade with my big hat on, and I'm watching everybody. You know, the thing is that, you know, we have a lot of people who are doing well now, head down, grinding, taking Maxine's advice, taking mine advice, doing everything they need to do. Do your clients miss you? Yes. Are they ready for you to come back? Yes, but they don't understand the bigger picture. And I think that's where we have to, as a group, say, what is it going to look like? no guesstimates, no, oh, well, I might do this. You know, there's a big thing going around now with no steam. I'm not too
Oh,
excited
yeah.
about that. I don't think the people who are making those decisions quite understand steam. That's my personal opinion. I'm a steam girl. I love steam. I have O3, so ozone cubed steamer. Fry the hell out of everything. I mean, I love my steamer, but I don't quite think we understand how facials are going to work with this. So I've seen people say, I'm not going to do facials. Okay, let's talk about that then. How is that really going to work? How can you, in your business, if you've been in business for years and facials have been a part of, I don't know, 60% of your income, how do you turn that off? And in lieu of that, what are you going to do instead? This is going back to touching.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that you can't do something when most of your business has been built on that. How do you turn that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think that's where a lot of us need to come and have that talk. Like, okay, so what does it look like? Going back to the SOPs, if you're not going to do facials, then what are you going to do? What are you going to offer? And what is it that you're offering that will allow that client to look at you the same way they did before COVID happened? For some of us, it'll almost be like we're starting over. We're going back to that beginning of our business and we're going to have to find that hustle mentality to provide that customer service. But again, also make us really understand, are we doing things that is relevant and of need? And I'm taking that from Maxine. Is this what your clients need? And we see this all the time. We'll go out and buy a machine because we think that this is going to bring in more clients. That's not how it works. So if you do decide to take facials off of your menu, then what are you going to replace it with? And have you thought about that? Is there a plan? And how do you then execute it? Because here's the thing, and I see people talking about, oh, I'm going to do clinical, I'm going to do peels. Peels are not year round. Facials are year round. So let's talk about dollars and cents. Facials are year round. So if you take facials off, and you could do waxing year round, yes. But if that's not what your business was set up for or has thrived on, then you, in essence, are starting a new business. And are you ready to understand how that is and what that looks like? And I don't think a lot of us are. I think we said it today, Maxine and I talked about, we respond in knee jerk. We don't sit with it, digest it, and then come back. We knee jerk respond. And I've seen it. I've had people message me and call me, okay, I'm open here, but I can't get gloves. And maybe you're not going to be able to be open, honey.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's so much. Let's see what else is on the list here that we cover, because I feel like we're kind of all over the place, but we also, I mean, things are kind of all over the place.
Things are all over the place. So, you want me to go to questions? Because there's a lot in here.
Yeah, let's do that. That's my favorite part anyway.
Okay, so Tara says, where do you begin is where I'm at. A lot of my clients aren't techie, they're older clients. So I feel that I may lose them or a large amount of my clients. I've been speaking to them on the phone, but they just say, hope to see you soon. That's a great one.
It is a great one because I think we have to meet clients where they are, right? Mm-hmm. And if they are older, what can you do? What percentage of those clients are older? Because I bet if you did a breakdown, you can kind of get, because there's something that you could probably do in person in a group spaced out. I don't know. That's how my brain works, to kind of reach them versus the virtual with the younger. But you want to meet your clients where they are.
Yeah, that's a great question, because I do think that there's a lot that are wanting that. They want that touch, and they put their trust in you for you to figure out how they can get it. And that's where a lot of our clients are. They're making us figure out how they can get what they had before, because that's what they want. And they're leaving it up to us to decide. Our problem is one, we don't have the resources to give them what they want and still be safe about it. Number one. Number two, can we honestly 100% guarantee that we know we're protecting ourselves as well.
I don't think so, you guys.
I don't think so either.
I think that like anything in life, there's no guarantees. We don't have the crystal ball. I can get hit by a bus tomorrow. I don't know what my time is. Like, seriously, we want guarantees, and there aren't any, and that feels really uncomfortable to us. And you know, there's new risks involved, and they're both ways. So, are you willing? Again, and I think it's a really personal decision.
I do too.
Some people are like, I want to go back, but I want to go back when it's safe. I saw a couple of those comments. And you really have to just listen to your own at that point and go, you know what? Today's the day. It's kind of like being in a bad relationship, you know? It's like your friends can be like, oh man, you need to break up. You need to break up. But you just know when today's the day.
Done. You're done.
It's a really bad analogy, but
it's the analogy that's perfect for us, because this is really what it comes down to. You know, we can put up with a lot, and that's the same thing with the bad boyfriend. I could put up with a lot, but at some point when I'm done, I am done. Don't call me, don't talk to me, don't do nothing. Leave me the hell alone.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how some of us are really, you know, focusing on this, is we're watching what others are doing. And we're watching hard, and we're like, oh, I'm not ready to do that. And then we see something else. I'm not ready to do that either. It's okay. And I think that there's also a pressure for us to expect us to be like running back forward. Those people, some of our clients are making us get back. Like they're expecting, you know, over and beyond. And you're kind of like,
yeah,
I'm okay with that. Oh, there's a lot. Sarah said, has there been talk about, she may have missed it, about doing an Amazon store? That's actually in Maxine Drake's, in her inner circle. You have a training on that, yes?
Yeah, I invited in
so
my dear friend.
in her inner circle.
Sarah's been in there. Come on back, Sarah. We missed you.
So as a solo SD, I built my business on facials, makeup, and lashes. Thank God I can sell skincare and makeup. That's Kim said. Exactly. Catherine Barrow says, you got to screen your clients to see if they're glove worthy.
Awesome.
Oh gosh. Andrea said, I purchased a medical grade humidifier and an LV UV light face shield and a face shield. And I've always used gloves, even though I wasn't trained with them. And that's a great start. I think the medical grade humidifier is something that a lot of people are going to be looking into. Definitely LED UV light, definitely air purifiers, which we're going to have to really start talking about bringing them in as a part of doing business. To not only protect ourselves, but be able to protect whatever's coming in. And there are some out there. I've actually looked at a couple. One I'm looking at leaning and buying for our office is, oh, I can't remember. I'll remember it when I'm done. Andrea also says she has a medical grade thermometer, the one that goes across the forehead, the things I can use at home. Thermometers, in my opinion, are, if they have a fever, it's too late. Is that bad? But I think if they have a fever, isn't it already too late, right?
It is. And if you're thinking about, because some state, you know, like, oh, should I take temperature? You want to get a touchless one.
Yes. Yes. Angie said, I'm also a solo SD offering facials, waxing, makeups, and majority of my business touching, quote unquote. When Florida fully opens up, I'm still going to be limited for the lack of PPE. And that's what I think a lot of people are really starting to understand. Sarah said, haha, thank you, Maxine. I'm definitely going to be finding a new normal, and your training is on the list. Lynn
Good,
said,
come back.
Yeah. Lynn, it's called Molecule. Thank you. I'm looking at Molecule for the office, and then a couple other different items to put in there as well for alternative ways of sanitation that don't come with super, super harsh chemicals. I think it's time for us to have that talk. I know Maxine and I are scheduled to do that talk here very soon. Because again, a lot of the things that we use to disinfect is not meant to be breathed in for years at a time. And if this is going to be our new normal, I think we do need to look at a little bit more green alternatives. So it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be hard for us to understand not only that business is different, but how can we make this new normal still be profitable? And I think that's going to be a big conversation. Mark says, I do facials, but I'll use all the safety precautions available, and I will wait an extra month after the ban's lifted to see what happens out there in the spa industry. More illness or deaths because I don't want to be a guinea pig. That's an honest place. Hey, Darnell, thank you for joining our call today.
Darnell, happy Sunday.
Yes. Tiffany said, I
Hello.
went back to my beginnings and added my false lash collections back to my website, but I don't do lashes. My wax clients who do lash extensions have been buying them. Thanks to these combos really stepping up my retail game. Retail game is definitely something that has to definitely help in this. And then Andrea said, no, it's not bad, but I bought it just in case. If they have a temp, I'll reschedule them. Yeah, I don't think I would even go to the temp thing, because here's the thing that I've been seeing about temp, and Maxine and I have been talking about it. If you deem to refuse someone on their temperature, is that within your right of doing business and liability? Because I think the temperature is what knocks us over into that medical side, right? I think that's where we're trying to stay away from.
Well, I think we're okay because the CDC is saying 100.4.
See, but what if for the folks that run hot?
Well, you're not going to be 100.4. What are you? Let's take your temperature right now.
Yeah.
Celine, go get the thermometer.
I got cold extremities, so it ain't gonna be that high. But Rudy, he runs hot, so I may have to take his temperature.
Yeah, I mean, that's the body's indicator that.
What about the menopause?
Something. There's talk about taking the temperature before. If you have a team, taking the temperature before you come to work. I mean, this is the new normal now, but I see it kind of fizzling at some point where we're going to be like, okay, we're not going to be so skittish out there. I think we're waiting to go. You go first, and then I'll watch.
That part.
I think that's really what it's more about. You go ahead. Let me see what happens.
And I'm not. I would definitely watch other people. Lynn said, I'm taking off my cozy blankets and my cushions off my table. See, now that's the other thing that we're going to have to talk about. Those got to go.
Yeah.
So all up there wrapping up people in their little cocoons. Ain't no more.
I mean, how can we make people feel safe, when they come into our spa if you have a team? I used to have a whiteboard that was like the opportunity of the day in my spa.
Right.
That I wanted to sell. But this time I might be like, Maxine's temperature is this, Stephanie's temperature is this, Susie's temperature is this. So when clients walk in, they're like, oh, they all took their temperature and they're all good to go. It's a safety thing. It's a trust thing.
Yeah, I would be offended. Lynn says that some clients would be. I would be too. And I go get a facial. So because I know her, would I still be offended? I do her like I do the people who card me when I go get a drink. Do I look like I'm over 21? But I mean, I probably would get over it. But I think the thing is too, is again, we're going back to not only our SOPs and our procedures of doing business, but we love allowing people to be in a relaxed place, to have those cozy blankets and everything that makes people comfortable and allowing people to relax. And now we're being told that we can't do that anymore. We're not going to be able to have magazines out like Mark says. We're not going to be able to have testers like we did before. We're going to have a whole new protocol just for our retail area. There's a lot of things that we haven't thought through outside of just opening the doors and allowing people to come in. Angie said another potential issue of insurance in our
got them in there.
Her insurance won't cover COVID cases, but also my insurance provider says it's a gray area and would be hard for someone to prove. Whoa.
Well, yeah, because we can't test.
No.
And so, and that poses a question is like, okay, is that the time to, I don't know, like, are all insurances going to say that?
I'm waiting for the insurance to say something because I think it's not going to be what we think it is. That's just me.
Well, I mean, does insurance cover other things right now? If you get the flu from your client, does it cover it?
Yeah.
If you get the chicken pox, no.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I'm worried about the exposure from insurance. I think it's what are they going to be covered for liability? So in the event someone accuses me of passing this to them, what am I covered for? That's where I think it's going to be. That's what I'm saying is going to be interesting on that.
Well, then that's when, and like I said, I put 10 pages together, but we need a waiver.
We do need a waiver. And you guys need to have your clients sign it every time they come in. It's not a one and done.
No, it's just part of your intake now. And it's just like, hey, this is a risk.
Mm-hmm.
And you understand the risks of being in close proximity with me as your esthetician, as your hairstylist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's the truth.
Ooh, Denise said the clause in my insurance includes fear of transmission, though. Ooh, wait, what does that mean? Denise, extrapolate on that one. Clause is fear of transmission. So someone can make a claim that they were scared because they thought they would get a transmission from visiting you? Oh, yeah, explain that one. Explain that.
Waivers will hold up. They'll hold up just as they would if you had them sign for a chemical peel
Or a waxing service, because
anything else.
waivers have come into play. I've been involved in 2 court cases. Waivers have been played, especially when it starts coming to money. They are in play because that means that the client was informed of consenting, so they knew about it. So they do hold up. Our problem is we don't have them used in proper places. We'll have one that's signed when they were a client 10 years ago.
Right.
So, I was correct in that. Oh my Lord. Oh God. Yeah.
What's going on?
Denise said that what I said was true in regards to that clause in her insurance, is that if someone feared that they got it from her business, that she wouldn't be covered. Good Lord. See, I'm telling you these insurance.
That's why you need the waiver.
Yep. Sarah said, would you be happy to share the file we're willing to share? The SOPs are a part of her group. Oh, that's Ashley. She's not talking to me. I'm sorry.
I know. I see scrolling fast, but you're handling it. So I thought one of us reading it's probably better.
Please provide a waiver webinar.
To work on that one. I mean, it's true. I shouldn't laugh about it. It's kind of.
Maxine is the webinar queen. She can go ahead and have that for sure. ASCP has a waiver, but it's not covering waivers that extend to this, I believe, but they may have updated it. I won't know. I know Maxine has a direct contact, so that may be something that Maxine will cover and discuss.
I don't know if they have
I don't believe they do.
Mm-hmm.
So, my God, there's a lot. And that's the thing where I'm okay with digesting. And I think a lot of us, we've had some time off now. We've had 6 weeks for some, 7 for others, maybe 8. There's a lot that we have to keep in mind and process. Because here's the thing about once you open, you can't say yes to some and no to others.
Well, come on, wait.
I'm not saying to clients, I'm saying to processes of doing things. You can't say yes to some things and then no to others. Like
I see what you're saying.
SOP and then say no to doing waivers.
Oh yeah. But I do think you could slowly open up and go through like any clients who are compromised.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
No, I'm not
okay. Okay.
Because right now, and I shared it, Georgia is now saying who cannot be out. So if they do come out, then what does that look like too? Because I've said that I've had conversations with some estheticians. Well, I'm going to still stay open. Okay, so people who have asthma, people who have hypertension, people who have diabetes, that's about 60-70% of your clientele. Are you now going to refuse them because the state says that they should be staying at home? I think that's a big thing we're going to start seeing even more, because as the shelter in place is lifted in phases, there are people who should not be out. If we are saying we're going to have these policies in place for our businesses as well, what do you do with those clients? Because to me, that covers everybody. Somebody has some form of asthma, hypertension, diabetes. You maybe have a client that has all of it. Do you now turn them away?
You put your clients in phases, just like the states are doing in phases.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that like, this is the one thing that where we're all involved. Like there's nobody excluded from what's going on right now. So I think people are a little bit more understanding when it comes to that, but some aren't. And it's okay if they don't want to come back then, or if you decide not to have them back.
I think that's important. I like the way you said that with phases. Like our business may have to have phases. And
Yeah.
it is going to. If you've cut out facials for now, that's a phase. If you don't have enough PPE to offer another service, that's a phase. And it's okay. Announce that, marketing it. I have certain phases of reopening my business to make sure everyone's safe. So right now, for the next 30, 60, 90 days, I'm only going to be doing this service. It's an honest place to be coming from. And I think people will
Yeah,
respect that.
I think so too. I mean, like, gosh, I could see opening up to even the, you know, where it's like, okay, you can come in and get a LightStim LED panel treatment. That's so not, you know, they go sit down, you situate the panel, it's completely hands off, but that's, you can be generating revenue that way. Maybe you used it as an add-on before, but it becomes a standalone service now. We have to rethink our business model. That's part of that shifting.
And Catherine says she's going to set aside 2 days a week just for autoimmune or health challenge clients to have their appointments on those days, which means you can definitely be treating them completely different. You know, that I think is where the phases come in for sure, because that can also now be a part of your SOP and a part of doing business, is that someone who does have those challenges can come in on these days and feel ultra, you know, safe. And I think that's the thing where you know, not only are you looking at services you're offering, but how is your customer service going to change? What are you going to be doing? And how are you going to be communicating on a regular basis in multiple different ways? The same message. Because people right now are not listening to anybody. They want what they want. And I think that's where your communication, your marketing, your consistency of saying exactly what you mean is going to come into play. And that's the thing where you have, you know, people, you know, they're very, and this is us as Americans. We want what we want when we want it, regardless. We still want it. And so as a business, knowing that you have precautions and things you have in place, either they do it or they don't. Either they respect you as it being the owner or they don't. And I, as you know, am very outspoken in that way. And I have no problem, you know, cutting people off and just saying, you're going to be all right, but this is what this is right here. Either you're going to do it or you don't. But I do love the fact that we can have these conversations and be open and honest and understand there's a lot of changes coming at us really quickly. And there's going to be a lot more changes that come very quickly that we're going to have to adapt to in order for us to continue to do business. And I don't think that this is going to be the end all as well. I think we're going to see this continue in phases way longer than they think it's going to go, because we don't know. We don't know. It's hard for us to source things. It's hard for us to do things. It's challenging, and it's challenging in a level that none of us could ever prepare for.
It's true. But one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. So there's a lot of conversation about virtual and being like, yeah, you know, I need to do this. It's been on my plate. So my question back to you is, this isn't about us. This is about you. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do different? You know, what, you know, are you going to step out of your comfort zone and learn this new skill so you can just baby step into it? Yeah. Because this time that we've had, you know, what have you learned so far in your business? What has this taught you? What has COVID taught you? And it's going to be different for all of us. Yeah. You know, what it's taught us. I mean, you know, I've had to shift so much in my business. Me too. You know, like anybody else, even though I've had a virtual business for 4 years, there's still a shift in the delivery and the content of what's needed and what's relevant. And, but definitely my challenge to you is get off today of this live stream and start taking baby steps to get your virtual savviness on and become an esthetician badass in the virtual space. Yeah. You can, you know, and now we could, you know, touch one person at a time in our treatment room, but now we have the opportunity of touching many.
Yeah.
in the virtual space.
Yeah. And we're going there, and it's
I
not
love it.
quite where it's still evolving, but we're going there. And the thing is that the trust doesn't change with your customers, whether they see you or see you on a screen or see you in a live call or see you on your Facebook page. That relationship still stays the same. You know, I've always found in the virtual space that I have a bigger reach and a more consistent reach than I would every 4 to 6 weeks when I saw clients. And I think that's the one thing, and Maxine and I agree on this, especially with Facebook groups. You have such a way of gaining the trust and growing that relationship organically. And then those people who love you so much invite people into your Facebook group, and it again is organically versus you saying, "Oh, did you refer? Can you refer this friend? Can you refer this friend?" You would not be surprised at how fast I've seen, and I've been in some of the Facebook groups that Maxine has, some of her folks that I've been invited to, and I've watched them grow like in a week because it's from a place of connection and organically building that relationship, which is something, in my opinion, that can be done that still reflects in your brick and mortar, even more so because the referrals have been so super organic. And it's referring from people you probably would never touch if you didn't touch them in a digital platform. And that's why I'm a believer of digital platform. It's worked in my business. It's worked in Maxine's business. I've done this for years. I see it being utilized even more. But I think it's something that for businesses to survive this, get through whatever recession we're thrown into, you really are going to have to accept it and adopt it into your business model.
Just like we did texting, just like we did,
Yep.
you know, online booking. Like, remember all those changes, and they seem scary at first, but you know, it's really not that. We just have to do it and practice it, and then it doesn't seem so scary.
Absolutely.
But I hope you enjoyed this little hour with us. Stephanie and I love to give back to our industry. It's one of my favorite things about you, Stephanie, is that you love it as much as I do.
Absolutely. We're going to go ahead and sign up. We're at 1 hour and 10. We usually try to keep it under an hour, but I hope everyone has a great Sunday. Please continue the conversations under this live. Maxine and I are supposed to be coming back in 2 weeks, right? Is that what we have
We
on this?
are. We are going to do another Sunday, and in 2 weeks, and we don't know the topic yet because things are just way too fluid still.
They're very fluid.
So, yeah.
Yes.
All right.
All right, guys. Have a great
Happy
rest of your
Sunday.
Sunday.